Yeah, man. Yeah, this is Joshua's Motivation Podcast. Yeah, season 2. You know what it's about. Yeah, fitness, finance, investing, personal growth, social skills, and mental health. Yeah, I'm a 20-year-old computer science student. Doing my thing. I've got an account on YouTube, Joshua's Investments. I talk about my fitness progress, my investment portfolio. Right, my motivation podcast is also over there as well, right, in the studio and online as well. Right, I've got an account for programming tutorials, motion design, boxing, and all of that. Yeah, so stay tuned, enjoy it, and peace out. Yeah, man. Yeah, this is Joshua's Motivation Podcast, episode 49. Yeah, this is like a little interview that I had a couple of months ago with a YouTube account called Free Conversation Lovers. You guys can go and check out their content. Just type in the name. A good interview with Joshua, Free Conversation Lovers on YouTube, and you should see them somewhere over there. Or you can also go onto my YouTube account, go into the community page, go all the way down, and you should see the first one is the link to their interview via YouTube, and you guys can go on over there and support them. Other than that, yeah, man, this is it, bro. You know what I'm saying? Go on all my other platforms out there, YouTube, this podcast on Spotify, Google, Apple. I got another account for programming. It's all there. And yeah, man, peace out.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Free Conversation Lovers. In this episode, we have a great interview, so make sure to stick around until the end of this episode because we're going to interview Joshua, who's from UK, and he's going to talk to us about a lot of stuff about his YouTube channel, his country, his activities, and everything else. So, Joshua, would you please introduce yourself?
Yeah, man, I'm Joshua, aka Joshua's Investments on YouTube. I do fitness videos, finance videos, frugality, personal growth, and my own motivation podcast on Spotify, Google, Apple, and so on and so forth.
That's great, Joshua.
Yeah.
We're really happy having you in this podcast.
I appreciate it, man.
Guys, please subscribe our YouTube channel and support us and support Joshua. We'll, leave this, his YouTube channel's link in the description. Make sure to follow him and subscribe him. Okay, Joshua, what do you do right now? I think you have.
I'm 20 years old. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm doing computer science, second year, and obviously on the side, I'm doing this whole YouTube thing, with like motion design as well, and programming tutorials and boxing, and working out regularly. And yeah, I'm just doing everything really, man, at the same time.
That's great. I'm studying computer science like you. I hope the best.
Yeah, don't worry, man. I appreciate it.
Do you like programming, stuff like this?
Yeah, man. Programming is good, man. Obviously, like my degree, there's a lot of Java and HTML, CSS, JavaScript, PHP on the course. I was like, you know what? Let me go make another account, and obviously not only try to teach it to people, but I can watch my own videos back. And I can like try to memorize different things and refresh my memory, and recharge, and obviously get a good grade at the end, get a good job, get good experience, and so on and so forth.
Yes, that's great. Yeah, computer science is really great, and if you are interested in programming, you will have good future, I'm sure.
Absolutely. And would you please tell the listeners, because there's a lot of listeners who listen to podcasts, our listeners are listening to us right now, and would you please tell them about programming, just a little, because we have some other topics to cover in this podcast too, but just give us a brief summary about what programming language do you think is best to start with for people who are beginners and they're, wishing to become programmers?
Me, yeah?
Yes, go ahead.
Yes. Yeah. I feel like, Python is a really good beginner language to learn, it's very the syntax. So what that is how you write the code. What you write on every single line is called the syntax. So in terms of Python, it's very easy. The words you gotta use to write different commands and different functions and different operations, it's very easy to write small words and like make a very simple program. Whereas to what I'm doing, which is Java, you have to like write more lines of code to output the same thing, which in Python you can write in smaller code. So it's more easier and things are way more easier to understand essentially. So I feel like Python is the best place to start for languages, and obviously from there you can go towards Java, maybe even C++ if you feel like you're up to the tasks.
Yes, that's great. I also recommend every person who wants to start programming. I strongly suggest people to start learning programming with Python because it's multi-platform. It's used in a different. Even can create uh, application for Android and use it in your phone. It's multi-platform. It's really good for artificial intelligence, machine learning. You can do a lot of things with Python. It has a lot of libraries, so it's really strong and fast.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's good.
And let Jusha talk about your YouTube channel. What do you do exactly? What are your main activity in this channel?
Yeah, well, the account started off, as investments. So what I would do every single Monday, I would have post, my portfolio every single Monday, every single week. But, as time went on, I made my own podcast and I was like, you know what? Let me go and post that on the account. And I like to work out. Me and my friend, we made an account where we would work out and do boxing together. So I was like, you know what? The word investment shouldn't just be about the stock market. It should be about investments into yourself. So there's many areas in your life that you can invest into, like your fitness, obviously your finance, maybe your mental health or your social skills or your personal growth or any other thing that can make you upgrade as a person. That's an investment. So I wanted to post that every single week just to obviously I'm 20, but I wanted to like show my life off so that when I get older now, I can always look back and see, where I've come from and see my journey. And obviously when I have kids now, I can, show my kids my journey and they can have like a nice blueprint on how to live a successful life and, all that good stuff, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. And you mentioned a great point because I'm just because when I look at the name of the YouTube channel, Joshua's Investment, I thought it was only going to be about financial investment, like investing in the stock market, real estate. But I scrolled down and I saw all the other categories, like fitness and health, and it's great. I mean, just keep up the good work, and I love what you're doing. And please explain a little to us about in other categories, you also have a podcast. Yeah, you also have a podcast, Joshua's motivation podcast.
Yeah.
Just tell us how to do the podcast and just how we can get motivated whenever we feel like we're disappointed. Because we're disappointed most of the times. We never want to. We sometimes get tired and we just want to I don't know, and we end up collapsing. So what would you suggest people to do when they want to get motivated?
That's the thing, like motivation, like especially for me, it comes from a catalyst. Now, obviously a catalyst it's an event that sparks or it speeds a reaction, and it speeds a reaction in us. Like for example, with me, almost dying, and the pandemic, that made me speed my reaction. That motivated me to do something. Now, obviously, everyone's different, but sometimes, and I believe this a lot, but you have to kind of like go through immense pain and a loss to actually realize that your life has purpose and you can actually do something. So I believe that if you understand that even though you're upset or you're quote unquote losing, um that's what makes you win, because you wouldn't really, like, no one that is successful now would have been that way if they didn't lose at one point in their life. So I think just understand that you have to kind of lose, and that can motivate you. Some sort of catalyst can motivate you, and you just gotta keep going, man. Yeah, like no matter what happens, you have to keep on like fighting for something. Because there will always be something that you gotta fight for. So that's what I could say, really.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
actually, I just loved your, YouTube channel's name, Jusha's Investment, and investment is not just, finance. You mentioned two things. Investment is fitness, finance, and different fields, and you are sharing your investment with people on this YouTube channel, and I actually really loved it. Thanks.
I appreciate it, man. I'm just trying to help people out, man. Because it brings me like fulfillment. Now I've been given messages from people, and it's like, oh, you helped me do this. Um, because of you, I didn't, commit suicide, or just like just those sort of things. Like they bring me fulfillment, and it's like this account. I don't see myself, ever quitting it because yes, computer science is really fun, and that in itself is really powerful. Like trying to solve different problems can just make you feel good, innit? But there's something else about making motivational videos or trying to show your life, your journey, and others come back to you and they say what you're doing has helped me in some way or form or another. Um, so I think that's like what this is. Obviously, there's other accounts on YouTube that are funny or whatnot. I know like they have their place on the site, but like this sort of content, like nothing beats it, man. Because like we all stem from this stuff. Like at one point or another, we're always gonna like hit some rock, some impossible. It seems impossible to go over this rock. You know what I'm saying? But you have the right mindset, the right mentality about things, then like you can just go through it. You know what I'm saying? Or just find a way to go up.
Right, absolutely. And I love your motivational podcast, I can tell. You also mentioned something about helping somebody. You help prevent someone from suicide. Like, I mean, what is better than stopping from somebody, stop somebody from suicide or preventing somebody from suicide? That's the best thing to do.
Yeah.
You're a saver. I mean, you're literally a saver, and I believe in what you do. That's the best, that's the most important thing to do, especially your motivational podcast, because sometimes people just need to cheer. They just need to cheer themselves up, and they can't do that by themselves. Just listening to one motivational podcast is going to cheer them up. I mean, I've tried this before. I never got into the point to, I don't know, think about suicide or whatever. No, but there's been times that I was, frustrated, and motivational quotes, motivational videos, and also podcasts helped me a lot before. So I want to ask everyone, I want to ask the listeners to subscribe to Josh's investment channel right now and also follow his podcast right now. I mean, I'll be mad if they don't. If they have to do it right now, and then and we'll continue this podcast.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, man. Down there, you get me down there. Subscribe to, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, subscribe. Make sure to subscribe him. His link is in this description. And you are also, active on other platforms like Instagram, TikTok, Spotify. That's great. Do you use other platforms as well?
Yeah, like Spotify, obviously like my podcast is automatically distributed to Spotify and Google and Apple. So yeah, most of their videos, like the recent podcast episodes, are on Spotify already, but I'm just gonna re-upload all of them onto YouTube slowly. So there's actually, as of this video right now, there's actually 40 episodes on Spotify and Google and Apple, but you only see up to episode 10 on YouTube. But that's that. And obviously Instagram, I post here and there. And TikTok, I post here and there. I post my little snippets of me jogging or doing cardio at 1 a.m. or, a little financial literacy topic that I may like. So yeah, let's do that. And those.
Right.
Exactly, yeah.
So you mentioned that you were from UK. You said you're from the UK. And would you please talk about your country? And you can mention all the positive and negative points about UK, if whether you suggest people to go there or anything else.
All right, cool. Yeah, yeah. First of all, yeah. Obviously I'm in the UK, but I'm Jamaican. You know what I'm saying? Both my parents are Jamaican, but I was born in the UK. Yeah. But I feel like the UK is a good country. You know, there are issues in every single country. But I've just got to be grateful that I'm in a first world country. And I feel like a lot of people that are in, either UK or, USA or North America, you're in a first world country, and no matter, what issues there are, you just got to be grateful that, you're fortunate enough to be in a country where there's no insane conflict, or the economy isn't like ruined, right? You're in a place where you can build up some sort of wealth, or something of value. Obviously it'll take time, but you can build something. Now, other than that, there are obviously issues in the UK, like, famous issue, knife crime in the UK. And obviously there's some, people that are born in some, unfortunate circumstances, and they obviously find their ways into drug culture, or abusing alcohol and drugs, and they just have no purpose in life. They don't really do anything in life because they weren't told anything else. They just believe what they see on the media, on TV, or the music videos, or from their peers, which are in the same disadvantage as them. So that's one issue. Some will say, there is racism. I would agree to an extent. But it's a bit low key. In the UK, obviously, I'm in London. So once you go out of the city, up to the north of the UK, the diversity gets very lower, and it's majority white. So you might see some sort of racism as well. Some will even say it's hard to get certain jobs because of their race. I haven't experienced that per se, but some, have said that. But I think that's the only issues really. There could be others. Obviously, guys can enter down below. If they live in the UK, they can enter some issues as well. But I think that's it really, man. There are issues, but they aren't as bad as some third world countries out there. Um, and yeah, but overall, the UK, even though it has issues, I'm still grateful to be there. Um, and yeah, I wouldn't really change a thing, really, man.
That's great, man.
Right, exactly.
When Brian asked you, what do you think about your country, you said every country has their issues, pros and cons, and so, but you really love your country. This is really good. I think every person should love their country, and make good things in their country, and don't say don't focus on bad things in their countries. Focus on good things and try to promote that good things in their countries. And you mentioned about racism. I think racism is everywhere, but we should, make it
Yeah.
less than ever, make it, I just, destroy it, in everywhere, and try to make it nothing. And I think racism is stupid, idea, every person, we are all brothers, and I actually don't think about racist people. Each race is good. Each race is good. In the world, I don't love each race, and I don't care about racism.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's the point. Like, the point is, I mean, the racism, everything about racism, I mean, racism depends on us, what we do, how we think. So it's just a mindset. And what we can do to, I mean, we can't stop it, but we can, and of course, we can reduce it. What we have to do is to educate ourselves and also educate our friends, families. Maybe we can make a big difference. Maybe we can change the way that they think. That this certain race in this country is not good, or no, that's not like this. And what we have to do is that we just have to educate them and also ourselves and the next generation, their children, because we should be careful what they think, like what they do on social media. Everything depends on our mindsets. Yeah, so you mentioned a lot of points about your country, UK, and pretty much some of the issues, but could you please tell us about the cost of living? in the UK and the good paying jobs that you can find in the UK?
Yeah, the cost of living depends on the individual, their psychology of money, but for me, I'm not really one to like to spend money. But if you're in somewhere like London, it's pretty expensive. We have the TFL, which is the world's best transport. Buses, underground. Um, we have all that sort of stuff. But that can be very expensive. Obviously, there's restaurants as well all over the place. Um, and overall, in London, it's pretty expensive, especially the housing market as well. Buying a house in London is it's just impossible to buy at this point. Um, and yeah, it's just ridiculous to buy things in London. But if you go up north or elsewhere in the UK for the most part, you can get, cheaper accommodation to live, mortgages that are cheaper, restaurants are cheaper, um, and so on and so forth. But there are actually stores that, like there's one called Aldi and one called Lidl. Now, both these stores, they sell very cheap goods, products, like, food, toiletries, etc. So it's up to you really how much you want to spend for the most part on essentials like food and toiletries and so on. But for the most part, it really depends what part of the UK you live in. But if one about London, it's pretty expensive, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah, expensive, man.
And how about the good paying jobs? Is it like, are there some certain jobs that you can get paid if you apply for those jobs? Or like, I mean, is there any balance between the jobs? Or like, could you explain that a little?
Well, I wouldn't know it, you know what I'm saying? I'm still doing my computer science degree, I haven't really had a job yet for the most part in that field, so I wouldn't really know. Um, but I'm just gonna go on a little guess. I think some jobs obviously pay, more than others, um, but that's why we get a degree for it and that's why we have more experience for it. Um, but yeah, I wouldn't really know, the answer for that one.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So there are some jobs that pay, pay you different. So yeah, we do have different payments, and it does depend on people's experience too, I think. So I don't think we can say that only this certain job is going to pay you well and the others are not. But yeah, and so thank you for the information about the country, UK, some of the issues that we mentioned, and everything else. So now we're going to move to the next segment, where we're going to talk about fitness. So you also have
Exactly.
this category in your YouTube channel. It's great. And I just want to know your advice to people who want to live healthy. I mean, people pretty much they work out, they exercise, but there's always something which is not enough. And I just want you to, explain to us what we can do to have a healthy lifestyle.
My opinion is very insane. I believe, for the most part, the only liquid that we should drink, yeah, is water. That every single meal that we eat, whatever the meal is, it should be, home cooked, homemade food, that you yourself made and you put love into the food. But for working out, I think all you gotta do is just work out every day. It hasn't gotta be anything, insane. If you gotta run outside for a couple of minutes or like an hour max, do it. If you gotta probably go into an empty room in your house and work out push-ups, sit-ups, crunches, maybe some boxing in the room, just do it. Like working out should be something that is fun, and something that will also reduce stress. Like some people have, unfortunately, as they get older, life happens and life gets a bit stressful. And obviously, I feel like if working out was, in that, the stress could have been, decreased and it will have a happier life, because stress is the silent killer you know. And if you don't really work out, 'cause when I work out, if I'm ever like upset about something or if I'm stressed out, I might work out, and after that, you know, I'm sweating, I'm tired, I'm huffing and puffing, but I just feel like I've cleared my mind, you know. I've sweat all the rubbish out of me, like, and you just feel better and you can refresh and recharge and come back at it. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like everyone should work out, and you just gotta find that motivation to work out. Like, if it's something as little as, you know, I don't know, you lost something like that was dear to you, or you lost your job, or someone may have passed away, or, you know, maybe you almost died, you know. If it's got to be that sort of level to then, you know, make you realize that, you know, life is short, yeah, and you have to, you know, use it to the best of your ability, then it is what it is. But you have to start working out, because also another thing is, you know, those that on average, you know, live to a longer life. They, you know, they typically do work out a lot, and they do something called intermittent fasting. Like, they will fast for long hours of the day, probably around 16 hours in a day, and then after that they will eat, and all they will drink is water. There's no coffee, there's no like soda, there's no takeaway, there's no McDonald's, there's no KFC, there's no Starbucks. It's just water and homemade food, and that's it. And I think everyone should live by that rule, because at the end of the day, we're all a part of nature. We're all guests on Earth, and I feel like we should just use what the Earth has given us. You know, fresh food, fresh crops. If you eat meat, you know, animals, and water. There's no other drink, you know, unless you use like, you know, fruits like mangoes or apple or banana smoothies. You know, other than that, I feel like everyone should work out, and it's compulsory. It's not optional.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Going to gym and workout over there, it really helps you to reduce your stress that you had during the day. I think that this isn't really mandatory for every person, and this is really important. And I think drinking water a lot during the day is also really helpful. And just eat homemade food instead junk food, like hot dogs and stuff. Like he's just going to Starbucks, or I don't know, McDonald's, and have dinner or lunch over there. It's really stupid idea. Having dinner in your home is more better, I guess.
Exactly. And the question is, so we pretty much, we have to keep out with, we have to be on a good diet, we have to eat healthy, work out or exercise. And the question is, I mean, some people can't go to gym. Like, maybe they're in a lockdown and can't go to gym. Gyms are shut down, and some countries still, in many countries, we still have the COVID. So, do they need to like get a personal trainer, or how can they? I mean, how can they just figure this out by themselves? Like, so like how can I know that this side is good for me or this one is not? So like what type of what type of exercises should I get started with? Like how can people try to find a way to answer these questions given the fact that they don't have a coach or they don't have a personal trainer because they can't go to the gym?
That's a good question. You know, it sounds very complicated, you know, this whole diet and nutrition. But the way I feel, not feel, but the way it is, all it is really is that there's fiber, protein, carbs, right? And, you
Yes.
know, carbs break down slowly, right? Carbs are the number one reason why guys or girls can become, you know, overweight. Obviously, we have fiber. This could be, you know, salad, spinach, kale, cabbage. We have protein. Some will say there's meat, and then there's obviously other foods out there that have protein in them, you know, more vegan food. But I feel like, especially for me, for the most part, I wasn't really going to the gym a lot. You know, I just worked out at home. I used to do karate. There was no weights, there was no machines, there was nothing. It was just karate, just punching and, you know, cardio. Obviously, I'll go back home, go in the bathroom and just start working out on the floor, like push-ups. So you can definitely work out at home. You can definitely experience, you know, growth in your physique and in your health on your own terms at home. And for the food, just eat what your body, you know, says you should eat. So if you eat something and it doesn't feel right, and you know that it's not good for you, like you can read the back of, any food that you buy, and you see that there's ingredients there which like don't sound like they're good for you. If you see glucose or sugar or any of those like sugar words, they're not good for you. Just eat whole foods, like anything that's like a whole food, a natural grown food. That for the most part is good for you. Obviously, if you are someone that is, skinny, right? All you got to do is just eat more food. Have a calorie surplus. If you're skinny fat, I suggest, because I was skinny fat, I suggest that you actually just lose weight and start again. And you bulk up. Now, to bulk up, to lose weight, all you got to do is calorie deficit, right? So I said all three of them. But it's a very pretty easy like process. It's just that sometimes we have YouTubers and people online that are not really educated properly, and they say a lot of false information. We have protein powders. Protein powders are very, for the most part, not good for you. We have all this sort of information that's very useless, and it creates stress. And really and truly, working out and staying healthy is a very pretty easy process. I did it during quarantine when there was no gym. And I've got pretty far. Obviously, I've still got a long way to go. I'm only 20 years old. But all it is eat the right food. If you're skinny, eat more. If you're fat, eat less. And just work out every single day in your room. You haven't got to go to the gym. I believe that no one should really have to pay for the gym. Working out should be free, because we're all human beings, we're all animals, we all have the right to, live healthy lives.
Exactly.
Exactly. And the thing you mentioned about this, the thing you mentioned about that, you said there are some YouTubers and they can't be trusted. I mean, not every YouTuber, not every person that you see online can be trusted. So, I mean, I came across this YouTube video that I watched, I think it was today or it was yesterday, and this guy, he said that he hadn't shampooed his hair for 5 years, and he was suggesting people to do the same, like quit shampoo. I mean, like it's just I didn't understand the logic in it, and yeah, and everybody's gonna. I mean, some people still trust him, but you mentioned a good point about that one, yeah.
Exactly. People should know who are they following, or they are following and listening to that person. So this is important. People should care about this thing. People should follow people who are really expert in that field that they are talking about. I think this is important. And
Absolutely. I mean, we do have great people like Joshua here, and I really appreciate you joining this podcast. And yeah, so I think we've covered all the topics I wanted to talk about. But if there's anything else that you would like to add in this podcast, yeah, feel free to. If you have any advice for the listeners, please share it with us.
I'm fine, really, man. That was a good podcast. I appreciate, the addition of me on your account. So that's cool.
Absolutely, and thank you for joining this podcast. I really appreciate it. And thank you all the listeners, everyone who listened to this podcast until here for sticking around. So make sure to check out Joshua's Investment YouTube channel and also his podcast. I think that they can find your podcast. I think your podcasts are also available in the YouTube channel,
yes,
or
exactly.
do they have to go to another platform?
Make sure to subscribe
Yeah. So
and
most of the podcasts are available in the YouTube channel. And they can listen to your podcast just by going to the YouTube channel, and also the other videos. I mean, you have great videos. Investment, I just and the meaning of investment. We learned something great today. Investment isn't necessarily about finance. It's about you yourself. Making yourself feel better. You yourself getting close to your goals. That was great. That was a great podcast, and I also want to ask everybody to follow us too. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Free Conversation Lovers. We're going to do more podcasts. And thank you, everybody. We'll see you next time.